Come have a seat and sip some tea. It's tech, entertainment, and art.
Come on down and get some sweet tea.
This is Sweet Tea, episode 3, right? You've done 2 of these before? Okay, just making sure. This is all pre-game. Warm up, side to side, jump shot.
Totally okay.
Nobody
totally
was defending
okay,
me, so of course I made it. Okay. Welcome to Sweet Tea, episode 3, with Abdiel Sean Gibson and me. This is an episode that's free, except no, it's not. It's part of a paid subscription. Thank you, Patreon subscribers.
Actually, it's not. It's still free.
Oh, okay.
Totally free.
It's a free subscription that you pay with your thoughts.
Yeah, and you're just giving away entire tens of minutes of your life you're never going to get back, but it's worth it because this is the most cherished part of your week, is listening to your little bit of sweet tea. So, you guys, we're back in the saddle again.
Woo!
Today's episode on Sweet Tea. Normally we take a nice slow sip with a drawl on our sweet tea, and we take a topic and we moisturize it. Okay, no, we don't do that. But we really mull it over. We break it apart. We put it back together. We're kind of like engineers in that way. Gibbs told me so. So today, this is actually going to be the very first ever Steepies. What's that now? Steepies. That's what we call our awards show that we have whenever we darn well want. And we're going to take a topic still. We're going to go over it. In this case, it's going to be sci-fi television shows. And we're going to take it from that awards angle. We're going to pick a category. Yeah. Abdiel, did you have something to say?
How do you know?
Just pick up on little vibes like this.
Yeah, so with the name Steepies, where does that come from?
Yeah, you bring a good point that this is not a real word, so some people may be wondering what's up with that. And it's that the word steep is steeped in lore as it pertains to tea products. Some would say that's how you actually brew the tea, is via this steeping. Well, I think there's probably some Chinese alchemy that might produce other similar results, but we're not going into that. This is the Steepies, you know? This is our little corner of the awards world, where we don't care what the Academy says. We don't care what shape your statue is in, or what color it is. We're colorblind. We're not actually colorblind. But in our awards show today, science fiction television shows, just to reiterate, so you get that into the little folds of your gray matter. Keep out of the white matter. Because, again, colorblind. No, so we're going to go through several categories of our cherished science fiction television shows from throughout our lives, perhaps before we were even alive. And the categories that we have are like this, basically. First, best full series. Second, best miniseries or show that only lasted one season. Third, best special effects. Guys, does special effects only include like CGI, computer generated? Or could special effects also be practical effects?
No.
I think practical effects would, yeah.
It can be practical effects.
Good.
Yeah.
So then special effects is what we're going to stick with. Best special effects.
Absolutely.
Fourth category, best writing. Fifth, best acting. And sixth, the show that's had the most lasting effect on your life. We're going to stick with these 6 categories. Maybe we'll tack on another one if we have time. But you know how we never have time for these things, so we're probably going to have an hour and a half show as it is. No, we're definitely trying not to do that. And at the end, we're going to tally up the nominations for each category. We're going to vote on them. and hope that everyone doesn't just vote for whatever they submitted as the nomination. Ideally, someone else will come up with a great idea, and you're going to go, you know what, that's actually better. And then that one will get 2 votes or 3 votes, and it'll win the category. So we'll tally up the nominations, we'll vote on it, and we'll declare an award winner for each category. Does anyone have any questions so far?
Tyler, I don't know if you might have mentioned it, but we're sticking within sci-fi realm, right? Did you say that already?
And specifically television shows. So don't go on about how much you liked in I'm thinking of there's a piece of software. It's on my computer that we use for work, and it's in my head, and I can't say that word. It's a different word. What's the one with the Interstellar? That's what I was thinking of. But I had a different word. No, don't go on about that. Yeah, because it's not movies. So Christopher Nolan, I don't think he made a TV show, so we can't use him. We just can't do it. Anyways, that's true.
Oh, I forgot that one.
Watching that right now.
So, just so that we understand what's going on here, the audience understands, we are going to vote on each one, and we can vote for ourselves for our own show.
That would be interesting. That's a good possibility. You can't vote for your own.
Yeah, or maybe we can, instead of choosing like one best of each category, and this is just an opinion, you can totally shoot it down.
We make a bracket. They fight against each other.
No, how about we just choose the one best sci-fi miniseries? We'll all vote for the one best of all time.
Oh, I like that.
For each category?
Just each category. Each one of us will introduce a show in each category and talk about it. But then in the end, we'll vote for the best show ever.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's just a thought.
I'm up for whatever.
But you know what? The most important question. So we're gonna mention the show, right? Yeah. That we want, and then we're gonna explain why.
Yes.
How long can we go on with the why?
Like
ballpark.
2 minutes. Because I know you can't keep enough. To 2 minutes.
No, it's gonna be 4. But thank you.
But if we can just do that.
No, I think we can do 2 minutes. We can do 2 minutes.
So part of the rules too is you can only use each show one time. So use it for one category, you can't use it for another category. But I thought that show had the best writing, but you already said it was the best show ever, so you can't say it had the best writing. You said it had the best, and that's enough. It's just gonna have to be enough. Okay, and animated series are fair game, so it can be easy. You start thinking about the sci-fi extravaganza, this live action show, but then you forget that they animated it, and that was actually better than real life, if you can believe it. The pixels, it got to you. So
totally.
So first, let's talk about the best full series that you've ever seen.
We have a timer here. We have a timer for 2 minutes.
Intense.
Put 2 minutes in the instead of just a timer, not a stopwatch, because the stopwatch.
So that you can hear something go beep 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 beep.
Oh well, no, that'll be really annoying.
Because don't they have an ESPN show like that, and then no one ever respects the beep beep beep.
No, they never. They always.
It's just an annoying chime.
Okay, go. Yeah, so let's begin.
So Sean,
who's gonna go first?
Sean,
okay, there we go.
I'm gonna pick you first. What do you think was the best science fiction television show ever made?
I have to go with Star Trek. The original Star Trek. I'm talking Captain Kirk, Spock, Bones. Because without Star Trek, I'm sure you've heard on so many documentaries or what have you. You don't have Star Wars. You don't have Indiana Jones. You don't have any Battlestar Galactica, whatever space thing. Without Star Trek, none of that exists. So you could look at it right now. You watch it. It may not hold up. Maybe if you're not into that like older stuff, but just the fact that it all really comes down to the fact that it can all be traced to basically Star Trek. I feel like that has to be it.
That makes it the best series. Now, just to be facetious here, you've made the case that it's the most important science fiction television show ever. But so in your mind, is that the same thing as the best? Like another show didn't build on it and make a better show. Like it's actually the best in your mind. Just
yeah, I think so. I mean, granted, they were super limited, right? And a lot of it was practical effects and such. I guess yeah, it can be easily made that there's newer stuff out there, better writing. Although the writing was really good, actually, for most of the episodes. I think maybe just the graphics, practical effects have probably just improved so much more.
Yeah. All right, that's good. You made it under 2 minutes, even with a follow-up question. It's simple, it's straightforward for Sean. So, Abdiel, in the next hour, what would you say is the best science fiction series on television, and why?
The best one for me, this was a tough choice, obviously. It's hard to choose the best of anything, but I'm gonna go with Battlestar Galactica. Why? Because it was ahead of its time. Really good special effects for the time that it came out. I think that this is one of the shows. It did not start the golden era of TV shows. You know, we live in that era now. Like every TV show is good, but Battlestar Galactica was one of the first TV shows that you thought to yourself, "Wow, this is actually a little bit better than movies." It's 4 seasons long, and all 4 seasons are really good. So really good writing, really good acting. It had, in terms of like actors and, I don't know how to put this one. This one's a little bit political, and I want to avoid that. I don't like that angle, but like, Captain Adama is his name. Have you seen this show, Tyler?
I have seen this show.
But anyway, he's like Mexican. He's Mexican, and he's like he's a Mexican actor, and he's like the leader of the captain of the ship. But anyway, so that was cool from that perspective. And also the first 2 episodes, just the writing was so good and it was so clever. And the first 2 episodes, it's about the details with the show is about humanity that lives on like this different solar system, and they had a war with a species of cyborgs. And I know I went over 2 minutes. I'm gonna finish real quick. And they win the war, but then the cyborgs sort of disappear, and they're called the Cylons. And then they come back and they totally destroy humanity. Like at that time, humanity lives in like 12 different planets or something like that. Is that right? Messing up some of the details. But anyway, they live in a few planets. They destroy all of the human planets, and human civilization goes from like 10 billion to like 50,000. So almost wipe out all of the human race. And the Cylons have a superior technological advancements, and so it's really nice to see that writing with how the humans are able to fight the Cylons, even though they have very rudimentary technology. One of the reasons why they have rudimentary technology is because Cylons are able to hack anything, right? Mm-hmm. So humans have to go back to like very rudimentary technology. Like their airships are actually the way that the way that you navigate. They navigate through them. They use similar technology to submarines. Like they don't have internet in their spaceships. There's no wireless connections. Everything is wired just so that the Cylons don't hack their systems. So anyway, the detail in the story, the details in the characters, the details in the technology that they have, and the tactics that they need to use to fight the Cylons, it's all very well written. Really nice show, really exciting. I'm just gonna go for the full 4 minutes. The last thing, the space battles, like the dogfights between the starships, are really cool, really well animated, and really well choreographed.
Okay,
Done.
just the 4 minutes. You made your case for that based on describing the plot.
Some of it
in detail.
I guess there was a little bit of spoiler there, but
And in the end, everyone dies. Oh no, that's not true. So Gibbs, Josh, what do you think was the best science fiction series ever made?
I would be remiss if I didn't say, and I think my father would probably be a little bit upset if I didn't say the Star Trek: The Next Generation, just because I grew up watching the show pretty exclusively with my dad. And of course, when it came out with Deep Space Nine and then Voyager, we continued watching. Of course, Deep Space Nine was really well written, and Voyager was pretty terribly written, but still kind of fun. But Star Trek: The Next Generation really kicked off these three shows all the way even into Enterprise. And when they make television shows now, sci-fi television shows now, they're always saying, can it be like The Next Generation? Can it be that kind of a cultural impact where everybody really enjoys it, everybody's watching it? The core of the show is taking a philosophical idea and then presenting it to the characters, and then how would you go through that? Or even sometimes like an engineering idea, or these big concepts that usually you don't tackle in a television show. At least until we got into Fringe and some X-Files, which are also great. But it was really smartly written, really good characters. There really wasn't a lack of production ever. It was always really well done. There's definitely some cheese in it, but I mean, who can't love a little bit of cheese here and there? But yeah, TNG is definitely the
Probably
best.
the lactose intolerant.
You can't go against TNG.
All right, thank you. Well stated. So, I am going to actually go with Fringe for the best science fiction show ever. Those were 4.5 glorious seasons. I feel like it didn't... I mean, anything we say is arguable, but I feel like it did not go down. It didn't, like, peak and then go downhill. I felt like it was just, like, always going up in quality. All the way through the 5th season, which I know some people weren't crazy about that, but the fact that they jumped into the future, it was like... And it built on everything that had come before it. It was just all so epic. And I feel like things that J.J. Abrams touches can sometimes not follow through. Sometimes it'll start off really great, really intriguing, awesome mystery box stuff that he loves. He loves setting up. Whether it's him directing it or producing it. Sometimes it just goes up and up and up, and then it just kind of peters out and loses direction. And then you come up with some sort of weird philosophical ending, and you're like, what was that about? So I feel like that didn't happen with Fringe. It came to a very satisfying conclusion in my mind. So just a very complete, satisfying story for me. So if you go with something that's all around best full series, for me that's Fringe. It's all around excellent. Like you said, like Abdiel was saying with Battlestar Galactica, all the best, writing, acting, effects, all the stuff. Like across the board for me, that's Fringe. And it's, yeah.
Are you getting emotional, Tyler?
Anything else? I say about it. I just like it's the one show for me that there was no regrets. There was no, why was that part of it? Why was that episode made? It's just it's the completionist in me. It was all good. It's like taking your favorite album because you loved it from beginning to end, and that is my favorite album in a TV show.
Nice.
totes.
Beautiful.
Respect.
So
Fringe is one of the best.
So do you guys want to vote per category as we go, or like Abdiel said, vote on one best show at the end, or do we not address the voting right now and wait until we go through all the categories?
Let's do what you said. Let's vote right now for each category.
Okay.
Just do it real quick.
So, and do you guys want to have it where you can't pick your own?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. So, when it comes to best shows, if we just go in order where we've already been, Sean, if you had to pick somebody else's show as the best show of all time, what would you say it would be? From what someone else said.
Man, I'm trying to figure out because I guess I'll have to go with Josh's.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense because you chose Star Trek earlier.
And I can't vote for mine, so.
Right.
Next best thing.
All right, so that's one vote for Next Generation. All right, Abdiel, what would you say is the best show ever made besides
Fringe?
Okay. And Gibbs, what would you say is the best show?
Fringe.
And oh man, if we have to vote honestly, if you weren't just voting based on
the rules.
I mean, if you weren't just if you weren't voting based on what other people were saying out loud, because right now, if I pick something other than Fringe, I'm sorry, other than Next Generation, Fringe wins. That would obviously make me happy. But at the same time, I also know that I was going to pick the Next Generation, and that would make it a two-way tie.
Yeah.
Let's just do it like that.
Two
And then we'll
That's
vote
fair.
again. We'll vote again in which one is the best.
Yeah.
No.
We'll vote again and forget what
The
everybody
thing
else
is that
said.
there's no. The problem with this though is that there's no.
no
We're an even
tiebreaker.
number.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no tiebreaker. So maybe we'll vote towards the end. Maybe we'll do that.
And this would be one of those good things too, where we like get someone's spouse nearby and be like, "Hey, babe, between this show and this show, what was better?"
Yeah.
That could be the tiebreaker.
We all get our spouses, and then again, it's a tie.
My wife is gonna say Star Trek, for sure. She grew up with Star Trek.
My wife
so-
will
so let's
definitely
just-
say Fringe. She hates
Okay.
Fringe. She hates Star Trek.
Oh, okay. Well, you just made
Yeah.
things more complicated
Yeah.
again.
I know. I can't help it. I can't help it.
Okay, that's fine. Let's just go ahead and.
Good.
and
Okay, we're gonna revisit that another time. We can't dawdle on this.
We'll just choose the best show of all time
Okay.
in the end.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Best show of all time.
Okay, that's fair.
So
Sci-fi show.
just based on how that took over 20 minutes basically so far to get through one category, we're going to have 1 minute time limits on best writing. I will say that is Battlestar Galactica because it had really good stakes and tension, and it was pretty well felt, I think, all through the series. Yes, there were maybe a little dip in quality in like third season or something like that, but they kept changing the location and why humanity was in danger at that place, and it really made it, all the political maneuverings between the president here and the religious, I won't say fanatics because that's sounds like I'm passing judgment. So the religiously inclined group, and
Yes.
and then those who were Cylons or working with the Cylons or felt, just there's no like real bad guy. It's like, I just got distracted now. Everybody was relatable. There was no exact good guys, bad guys. So very well written show for that reason. And now I'll pass it on to Sean. What do you think? Best writing in a sci-fi TV series?
This one was a tough one for me, I'll admit. I love Lost in Space season 1 and 2 on Netflix. I mean, my wife and I, we watch it. Season 2, okay. Some people are just haters and they just don't know how to like enjoy life. But season 2 of Lost in Space, every single episode was more and more intense. I mean, how many times can this family get saved? I don't know, but they keep getting saved. It's just super intense and it's super family friendly. But I also wanted to go Star Wars Rebels. I really liked parts of Star Wars Rebels because Abdiel's giving me like this weird face because of the Grey Jedi. They finally went into where the Grey Jedi came into effect, and I love the Grey Jedi concept. But I'll have to go with Lost in Space season 1 and 2.
Okay. All right, Abdiel, best writing.
So in this one, you and I have a little bit of a switch, Tyler, because I'm gonna choose Fringe.
Okay.
For this one. So you chose Battlestar Galactica, which I chose before. Fringe. I really like Fringe because, or the writing in Fringe, specifically the first 5 minutes of every episode of Fringe.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good because it presents to you with something unreal, something unbelievable, something crazy. And you're like, how are they gonna explain this? Every time it's like, what the heck did I just saw? And then through the episode, they explain to you how scientifically it's sci-fi, you know. So how would you say that? Scientifically, how scientifically they explain how, you know, how whatever they show you in the beginning, how it happened. And some of it is actually really compelling. Some of it is actually like hard science fiction. I think that's why I choose Fringe.
And really, it's kind of like, it's what the show's named after. Fringe science. It's conceivably possible, but it's so out there that the likelihood of it being, actually happening is so. But it's not pseudoscience, not quite. It's kind of like things that, if the right things, were to line up, it could conceivably happen, but it's like likelihood, not likely. So I liked it about that, is that it was built on real science, even if it's like super out there.
There's a little T-Talk lore here. I know back years ago on the East Coast, when we all lived in New York, Tyler and Abdiel tried to make me watch Fringe, and I could not get through it. I feel bad. Like now I feel
really?
like I feel obligated to go back and watch it. But I think partly because like I think in the first 2 episodes you told me like the whole plot line, Abdiel, and I just like lost all interest.
Oh, that was terrible. Then you should go back and watch it because it's so good.
Season 1 is for those who love like Monster of the Week type shows, and then it totally dives into the like overarching plot and lore from seasons 2 to 5. It's not the same formula after season 1. Is just what I'll say.
I'll have to give it another shot.
You just get into how cool it is in the first season, and then after that, then you'll care about the characters so that it matters to you what happens to them. They make this choice and that choice and whatever. But that's just a little pitch for you. Thank you, Abdiel. Josh, what do you say?
You're welcome.
Deep Space
Best
Nine.
writing in the show.
I like The Next Generation more, but as far as the writing, and you can talk to a lot of people, a lot of Star Trek fans especially, Deep Space Nine definitely has the best writing of any Star Trek show. Man, it's a real toss-up. I would give it to Fringe if I wasn't such a Trekkie fan, but Deep Space Nine has some episodes that cross the television show, and it becomes like it affects you. Like, it affects you in a way where, I've never thought about that before. Because the entire premise of Deep Space Nine is what happens after somebody, a hero, so let's say the Enterprise, what happens after the Enterprise, your protagonist, has left the situation and everything's back to normal? Well, all kinds of crazy stuff happens. And who steps up when that stuff's going on? And what is it daily life in this really tough situation? The world today is full of tough situations. So, they're stuck in between this really tense war ground and war zone. It's really interesting. And every season progressively gets better, I think. You can start at 1 and it's kind of boring. 2's okay. But, if you get to the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th season, they're amazing.
When Worf comes in?
You can't stop watching them. Yeah, when Worf gets there. He makes everything better. No, definitely DS9.
Excellent. Okay, so then in reverse order then, let's go. Let's take it to a vote then. Josh, if you had to pick between Battlestar Galactica, Lost in Space, Netflix, and Fringe, what would you say is the best? Okay, best writing. You got Fringe. 1 for Fringe. All right, Abdiel, between Battlestar Galactica, Lost in Space, and Deep Space Nine, which has the best writing?
Battlestar Galactica.
Okay. And Sean, what would you say between Battlestar Galactica, Fringe, and Deep Space Nine?
I've never finished either one, man. So like, I started watching Battlestar Galactica, I stopped it. Same with, I do know Trekkies, and a lot of Trekkies go with Deep Space Nine as being like an amazing. So I'll go with Deep Space Nine.
Okay. And that leaves me. I have to choose between Lost in Space, Fringe, and Deep Space Nine. And I'm going to go with Fringe for best writing.
And we have a tie.
No,
you
we don't.
and Abdiel are playing a metagame at this point.
No, because technically nobody picked Lost in Space. So that means 1 vote for Battlestar, 1 vote for Deep Space Nine, and 2 votes for Fringe. So Fringe has According to our group, the best writing.
Okay.
Well done. It's almost like we're playing apples to apples here, because you don't get to pick your own, so you're trying to put forth the best card you think everyone else will vote for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
I don't
good,
even remember
you know?
that game, but I trust
Me
the
either.
reference.
I just said yeah because.
Look it up, y'all.
Because.
You're like, of course, that's it. All right, so category 5, and now it's back to Sean to start us. Best acting in a sci-fi series.
Oh man, with this one, I had to go with voice acting, and I went with the Batman the animated series, '90s cartoon, Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill. I was just watching an interview with Mark Hamill today, and basically, they'll call Mark Hamill, and they'll be like, "Hey, Mark, do you want to play the Joker in a cartoon or wherever?" And he'll say, "Is Kevin doing it?" And if he says no, then he's not going to do it. So basically, I mean, they're just like the best duo. And I mean, I feel like if that hadn't existed, we probably wouldn't have gotten Christopher Nolan's series the way it was presented to us without that cartoon.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Okay, Abdiel. Best acting in a sci-fi series.
Stranger Things.
Okay.
Why? Good acting all around, but probably the best acting from kids that I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I think in every show, every movie that I've seen where kids are acting, they're terrible actors. But this one, all of the kids are good at acting. So that's impressive. I don't know how they were able to find those very talented individuals, but they did, and it's really good. And yeah, so that's really why I'm giving it to Stranger Things. It's because it's surprisingly good acting from everyone, especially from the younger actors. But it's also, I just have to say, with my last 10 seconds, it's also just a really good all-around show. Really good acting too, really good special effects. I was actually gonna choose between that one and Mandalorian for the special effects, but ultimately Mandalorian has the best special effects. So anyway, best acting, Stranger Things.
Good deal. And Josh, what do you say about best acting in a sci-fi series?
The Orville. No, I think Abdiel took mine, so I'll go with the Mandalorian.
Okay.
We can agree? What the heck? No. If you were going to say Stranger Things, then it's Stranger Things. And already decided which one's the best acting.
Well, because it's a tie, because Stranger Things is really well acted, especially because of the children. But, it's nothing we haven't seen in an 80s Spielberg film before. So that's the only downside. On The Mandalorian, the only downside to it was, what was it? It's not Diego Luna. Who is the actor? The Mandalorian. I forgot his name. Anyway, he wasn't actually in the suit or acting for most of it. And so that went against it a lot for me when I found that out. But then I found out it was Clint Eastwood's son acting most of it, actually in the suit. And that kind of made it okay for me. So,
What an interesting
That's
thing
lame,
to discover,
then. That's
right?
lame.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Pascal.
I didn't know that
Pedro
Pascal.
Pascal.
He was not...
He wasn't... what was it, episode 4, where they worked with Arrested Development director's daughter? Oh, what's her name? I forgot her name.
How can you forget
Everybody's names.
Bryce Dallas Howard?
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah.
That Pedro Pascal never even showed up. She never even worked with him. She's like, yeah, I'm sure he's a nice guy, but I never worked with him. I was like, who was in the suit the whole episode then?
He just did voiceover acting.
Yeah. He was there for some of it. He was, but he wasn't there for all
But
of
none of the action, none of the gunslinging. Basically, anytime he's just standing there and looking at people, that's when he's in it.
But the walk was from Clint Eastwood's son,
Yep.
which made me feel like I was like, that's cowboy, and that's the cowboy samurai thing for the show. It's perfect.
Which is funny.
So I like that, but
Because his character's kind of loosely based on his father's The Man with No Name Cowboy series. Those
Exactly.
those movies.
And then the second part that made it really good was the old frogman, the Ungot. He was awesome. And the acting for him was really, really awesome. So I give it to him.
Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte, the unguy.
I thought the Mandalorian's character was also based on that samurai movie Wolf and Cub. I didn't know it was
Yes.
based off of that other western.
It was,
Man
well,
with
the
No Name.
character was based on the Man with No Name, but the actual premise was Wolf and Co.
Yeah. Okay.
And a lot of other stuff. But yeah.
Yeah.
You guys put me in such a hard place because I totally came to the table prepared to talk about how they extracted such good acting from kids in Stranger Things. And then it's like point for point, Abigail's like, he's right there with me. He's just like mano a mano.
That's right, man. That's right.
So that would totally be my point of view on it. But
So we have 3 people that would have chosen Stranger Things.
yeah, but see, that totally would break our voting process because then it would be 3 people who had to pick the other thing. and one
Forget the
person-
voting
no,
process.
it would already be decided.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it,
we're
would be,
excited.
it would be majority. Yeah.
So, we can just call it and say that realistically it is Stranger Things, or
Mhm.
I'll just throw another one in there.
Which one?
For
I'm
posterity's
curious.
sake.
Yeah.
It's not as like a realistic option because I don't want to like keep pumping this.
Man, you're sweating.
Are you sweating, Tyler?
He's getting nervous. He's had to make a decision.
Man, this was he was crying earlier. Now he's sweating.
He's unstable.
I'm fine. It's the lack of tea. It's just
I need
I
tea.
need loosened up, guys.
We'll get tea for our next show.
Yeah, we'll have tea for you.
Need some fresh brew over here. Let's say that it's what was that show that had that they went to the past? There's a bunch of humans in endangered Earth.
Oh,
They get sent to the past.
dinosaurs.
But it's not.
What was that?
Was it dinosaur? Well, it actually
It
had
was,
dinosaurs.
like there's dinosaurs in it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was great. I love that show. We watched that together. What was it?
I was gonna say that the best acting was the dinosaurs in that show.
It's so true.
Well, the joke is ruined.
Oh, I don't remember what it is.
Oh, Terra Nova.
Terra Nova.
Terra
Oh
Nova.
man, I wish that was on.
Yeah.
The acting, man, 100%. So good.
I've never seen Terra Nova.
Oh,
Is
you
it
gotta
good?
go back
Dude,
and watch it, FBO.
You should actually watch it. It's kind of a fun watch. Like
It
it is
is.
fun to watch.
Yeah.
Is it like it's so bad it's good?
No, it's not bad. Like they start off like in a cyberpunk dystopian future, and they're sending people to the past to cultivate Earth, basically, so that they don't destroy it like they have in the future. And it's about this family that goes back, and they're hiding out from the government and all this stuff.
But it has very
It's really good,
Lost-esque,
Okay.
like, ooh, what's actually going
Yeah.
on?
Yeah,
Oh,
In my
okay. Yeah, Lost was
intrigue.
It
Lost
was
was
not
one of those
sustainable. I mean, some people liked it and everything like that, but it was like it was so expensive to make that they just couldn't last. It was one of those Fox shows that they were
Oh, I
huge
see.
budget.
Yeah.
They
I
were
actually
hoping
wrote
everybody would be
Fox when
into
they
it.
canceled it, requesting that they come back on.
Really? That is awesome,
That
dude.
just shows how disrespectful Fox is.
I'll see you at $20 if you turn that thing back on.
This young fan wrote out of his heart.
I have written to some companies when they've made certain decisions. Like there's one company that I really like, video game company called Naughty Dog, and they decided to make this one
yeah.
game. They decided to go like off the track and made this one game that was very different to what all the other stuff that they've done before.
Was it The Last of Us?
The Last of Us, yeah. And I actually emailed them and be like, "That's a huge mistake. You just made a huge mistake.
And now it's like their biggest property.
You just lost a client right here. You should have just made more Uncharted or go back to Crash Bandicoot or something."
I love that so much.
All right.
I mean, yeah, Uncharted is better.
Yeah. So, Sean, starting with you, if you couldn't pick Batman animated series, would you go with Stranger Things, Mandalorian, or Terra Nova for best acting?
I guess the Mandalorian. What was the other one? Terra Nova and
Oh, and Terra Nova.
Stranger Things.
Stranger
I appreciate the kids acting. I just didn't finish the series. So I once again I
Yeah.
fell out, and so just because of that, I guess I'll have to go with Mandalorian.
You didn't finish the second season or the first season?
I finished the first season, but then my wife and I decided not to keep watching it. We're like,
I was gonna say it would be hard not to finish the first season because it was really well crafted. The second season, honestly, once you get past the first 2 episodes, you don't really have to finish it. I hate to say that, but it's kind of true. Like, it's just a retread.
Yeah.
You know, like you catch up with the characters in the first 2 episodes, and then it's like, well, it's all the same stuff as before. So
yeah.
Well, I think season 1 and 2 are really good. Season 3 is not as good as 1 and 2, but I think season 2 is a good sequel to season 1, though.
I would have just left the town. I mean, just get out of there. Obviously, there's issues.
Well, spoilers. End of season 3, they do just leave town.
Oh, good. There you go.
So for season 4, the show's just gonna be about them just living a really nice life somewhere else.
Actually, they decided instead of season 4 just to make the Black Widow movie and have that be the sequel.
Oh, sweet.
He's the Russian superhero.
Oh, that's right.
oh yeah, he is the Russian.
Anyways, that's just a little Marvel joke there for you. So MDL, what would you say has the best writing? Batman animated series, Mandalorian, or Terra Nova?
Best writing?
Seen. Sorry, best
acting.
Acting, yeah.
The Mandalorian, I guess.
Okay.
It should be Stranger Things. We all show Stranger Things.
All right, Gibbs.
I think he's doing it to get at you, Abdiel.
Abdiel is okay. Gibbs, do you want Batman animated series, Stranger Things, or Terra Nova?
I will have to say, I have a Trump card here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it says Trump on it. It's a card.
A Donald J.
So
Trump
I'm going to say
card?
Stranger Things, and it is the definitive best acted show. Stranger Things for sure.
Thank you, because I'm also going to vote for Stranger Things, making it a 2-way tie. Ooh.
Ooh.
But I feel like that's fair though. Between those 2 shows, well acting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see it going either way. And that leaves our 6th category, the one that's had the most effect on your life, or it still has the most effect on your life right now.
Ooh,
and
that's a different question.
Has had the most effect on your life, including now.
But it's a sci-fi show, though, Sean, so it shouldn't be that difficult.
Sci-fi show has had the most lasting effect on your life. That's the definitive wording of the question that's actually a statement. So, Abdiel, what would you say about that thing of which I have said words?
Yeah, the sci-fi show that has had the most effect or lasting effect in my life, it's a Ghost in the Shell standalone complex.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a show that I've rewatched like 3 times. I think about it often. I think that they make some interesting. It's a cyberpunk show. It's science fiction, but it could almost be described, I think, as hard science fiction because it also stays within the theoretically possible. You know.
Also, it's a high concept, which is something you don't see in television ever, hardly. That's
right. Yeah, that is true. It's an anime show, but most anime shows are terrible. This is one of the few that is actually well written, and the dub in English is really good. I think usually the Japanese voice acting is better, but in this case, it feels like the show was written in English because the English dub is really good. The conversation and the dialogue is really, really good. I think dialogue is one of those things that it's a hit or a miss in a lot of like shows, or not actually. Not in a lot of shows actually have surprisingly good dialogue. I should say movies, but this one the dialogue is really, really, really good, especially considering that it's an anime.
So
and it's yeah. Anyway,
you're describing why it's an excellent show, but if I may, why has it had the most lasting effect on you?
That's a good question. Because like I said, it's a show that ever since I've seen it, I think about it very often. The show, I should explain, the I should answer your question, and I want to answer it right now.
Let me get the timer back up here.
Yeah, put the timer. 1 minute. The answer to that question is because the show does have or does offer a philosophical question that most cyberpunk stories present, which is what does it mean to be a human? Specifically from the point of view of you having a body. Like if they take all of your they say if we take all of your consciousness, all of your memories, everything that you who you are, your mind, and we put it in a computer, and now you're in the computer and you don't have a human body anymore. Are you still human? It's a question. If we were able to do that, and that's theoretically possible, right? That for maybe one day they'll be able to do that. So, and are you still human? But also, that's a good question. Okay, but also, what psychological effect is that going to have on you? So it's a very interesting thought, and it also introduces the idea of essentially immortality, because you can have all of your mind downloaded into a computer and then installed in another robot body, and now you have a new robot body with all your memories and your mind in it. If we do that, is it still going to be you, or is it going to be like a clone of you? Is it going to be someone different? Is your mind attached to your body or your brain, your physical brain? It's just very interesting questions. That's it. I'm done. 1 minute. I stayed 1 minute.
I say good day. So, thank you. The summary of all that explanation was it still messes with Abdiel's mind. He's still wondering what it means to be a human, and that show makes it. All right, Gibbs, what would you say is the show that has had the most lasting effect on you from a sci-fi TV show?
Before I go into it, Abdiel, they actually cloned the brain of a cat, and inside the computer, the brain started to dream. It would fall asleep and dream. That was a recent thing they did. I thought you would appreciate that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think that was a year or so ago, maybe longer. But I thought that was really cool. Yeah, anyway, great show. If it was as far as like learning to appreciate style, it would have to be Cowboy Bebop, which is also an anime show. Amazing style. It has jazz music. It's a Western in space. Obviously a lot of Japanese influences, but that's not the show. When I was in New York for a while, my dad called and he had to have heart surgery, and it kind of threw me for a loop. And I was pretty depressed for a few months because I couldn't go see him. I didn't have time, and so I wasn't really sure what to do. And to occupy my mind, I just rewatched Star Trek: The Next Generation because that's what I watched growing up with him. And even today, when I'm like having a hard day or something, if I turn on an episode of TNG, or if I'm like really stressed out at work, I could watch 15 minutes of an episode of TNG and it's therapeutic. It literally makes me feel better. So I'd have to say TNG.
Also, Cowboy Bebop is one of the few good animes out there.
It's really good though. It's better than Firefly.
Yeah, and it's a lot like Firefly. I was gonna say it's also Western in space kind of thing.
It's what influenced Firefly. Yeah.
So your actual answer is Next Generation, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I feel like this category we're not going to be able to vote on the end on which one has had the greatest effect on our lives, because you're automatically picking something else that's not really true of you anymore. So we're just going to leave this one as it is what it is. This is just like an open-ended.
Did Sean answer?
He has not yet, but I'm next in the rotation, so we'll get to.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I thought you were closing. My bad.
For that reason,
it did sound like that would have been a good close, huh?
Yeah.
And then Tyler cried again, and then.
And that's all the time we have. But really, though, I also have to say Next Generation, because even though I do remember, obviously, watching the original series of Star Trek on syndication and stuff as a kid, and I have a lot of fond memories of that. But the ones that most affect me, I guess, both from a personality effect and really actually affecting my life is and enjoyability of something you return to and watch and you're like, that's great. From both of those angles, it's Next Generation, because I feel like as a fictional character to like aspire after Captain Picard is like, what a classy character. What a guy that's like never gives up. I think like so many characters since him have been like based on him, roughly. The kind of, he gets on his guys, expects the best of them, pushes them to do their best, but and is kind of like fearless in the face of opposition. And so many like even parodies have been done of that since then. But yeah, so just as a character that sticks with me, about optimism and perseverance, it's him. And also the memes are just great. I love me some Next Generation memes. Just throwing gifs at all my friends. It's great. I always go back to that. So Sean, what do you think? Most lasting effect.
Man, okay, so I did not pick it based on most lasting effect, and maybe I should have. Let me explain what I picked.
Please do.
I picked Lost.
Oh.
And let me explain why I picked Lost. Go back to 2000, 2001, when people did not binge watch things. Okay, you had to watch it when it was on TV. Right. Right around that time, a little few years later, you had TiVo, and you can record it and watch it then. So there was a time period for you younger listeners out there where you could not just go and watch whatever you wanted anytime you wanted to. I don't know if you knew that or not. But like when I saw the first episode of Lost, I stopped and I didn't watch it for 6 seasons. And then I rented all of them on Netflix. And I watched all of them. Season 1 through 3 was amazing. Season 4 through 6, terrible. Obviously, they had lost direction. It's not rewatchable. I wouldn't watch it again. But it was just, I picked it because it was the first show I binge watched. Prior to there being like shows that you could go on and just watch them as much as you wanted to. So that's why I picked it. So I don't know if that really has like the emotional effect that the other shows you guys picked us.
It's stuck with you though, right? That's the idea, is that like it's very present in your mind because of you spent such an amount of time with it.
Yeah, I spent a whole summer watching all the episodes and so it was just kind of yeah.
All right. Good deal. Thank you. So you've just completed roughly to you listeners out there our first ever Steepies. We committed ourselves to giving awards categorically to sci-fi television shows. So thanks for listening to us in this epic first endeavor of the Steepies. You'll probably see this happen again or hear it again, and no doubt we'll have some more structure in the future. But no promises, because let's be honest, how much structure has actually been produced by anything we do? And that's all we got. Peacing out. Listen to some end credits.
This has been Sweet Tea, a Tea Talk Plus podcast, hosted and written by Tyler. Tea Talk Plus Sweet Tea is a product of Tea Talk Productions. If you like what you heard, like and subscribe, and please consider supporting the show on Patreon. Link is in the description below. For questions, corrections, requests, and ideas, please email us at teatalkproductions@gmail.com. You can also use the DM service on Patreon or the YouTube comment section. We're available on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Patreon. Thank you and goodbye.
Come have a seat and sip some tea. It's tech, entertainment, and art.